Okay, so I want to do a quick video about like how long the Earth has been habitable, and how long our solar system has been spinning as it is that we can live on it in the universe. There's always some debate about creation and science, and science tries to say, like scientists, atheistic scientists. A lot of scientists that are not atheists that see God's hand in creation, such as like DNA scientists, genealogists, confirm God's hand in creation. So atheists try to disprove it, and they end up proving it anyway. It's like flat earthers trying to prove the Earth is round, and they tend to prove it is. Sorry, other way around. Flat earthers trying to prove the Earth is flat, and they end up proving it is as round as a sphere. So Genesis, first chapter, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and void." So it starts with time, space, and matter, and that is our universe where we live. Before God created time, space, and matter, apparently He created the angels, which some try to say that the angels fell. I'm going to do a quick video, okay? You can play on your tablet for a minute, all right? So, before making this video too long, so, like, data does not lie, but it can be misinterpreted. And I was reading a Wikipedia article about this creature in South America they think was a brontosaurus, and they say it's still alive. But this Wikipedia is saying that like creationists are desperate to use any kind of scientific evidence to prove creation, which is definitely the other way around. That's definitely an atheist projecting their desperation to prove God doesn't exist, because then they would have to be accountable for their actions and their immortal soul. Anyway, so a scientist, he's an astronomer. I'd call him an astronomer, not a scientist, because he's both technically, I guess. Astronomy is science. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, I mean, he's got a lot of things that are pretty cool and locked down that he knows what he's talking about, but other things like time and wormholes, being warped by gravity, or what's it called, black holes. I think that's misinterpreting the data, because they're measuring things that are moving through space, but space is moving everything, so you can't really gauge something that's moving through time faster than time. Well, it changes its rate of speed and influences the things that we measure time with. So that would give us the idea that time is a variable, not a constant. So on that point, I kind of disagree with scientists, but what do I know? So anyway, creation happened. There's a debate on how long before the earth was made livable, and then how well the first verses of creation, when God made the earth habitable, how well they fit with science. I'm telling you, they fit perfectly. They just haven't interpreted the data correctly. But so my big thing is like the flood of Noah. The flood of Noah, like, God created the earth and humanity perfect. I mean, He's God, of course He did. And then He gave us the responsibility for it, and a test to see if we could handle the responsibility and if we would choose to love Him or not. It's a big risk, and we all suffer for it, because Adam and Eve did not make the right choice. So it kind of sucks, because it wrecked God's creation, and God regretted creating humanity. According to the Bible, it says God regretted it, repented of it. He like felt bad for all the bad things that we did, and so he was going to wipe everything out. And he just like maybe start over. Didn't say he was going to start over, but he definitely said he was going to end it. And the way he chose to end it was with a flood. So pre-flood, the earth had a lot of moisture on it. We know this from fossils, like so much evidence. Like animals could grow bigger because they had more food and nourishment and less solar radiation, aging them faster, and could grow bigger. So before the flood of Noah, there were giants. And there's a lot of signs that happened during the flood. And we have a lot of fossils that show like human prints, like a stampede of people trying to escape the flood waters. And there's like human and dinosaur footprints together, like dinosaur footprints over human footprints. And handprints of someone falling into the earth and their hands sticking into the mud, and that became fossilized because there were like mudslides when the flood happened. So, and humanity lived a lot longer because, well, the earth was perfect and the canopy of water came down. The Bible calls it a firmament, a vault, a canopy, and it's being described from people who are standing at one point of earth and looking up, right? Before, like a child looking up and trying to explain everything. Before they have all the data, the science to understand that the earth is round. They knew there was a circle because it's referenced many times, the circle of the earth. But flat earthers try to say that means that we're on a disc, but it's just ridiculous. But anyway, so there were giants before and after the flood of Noah. People are trying now, like there's a huge worship of technology nowadays. And they're trying to say that angels interbred with humans and had advanced technology in the past. And that's how things that seem to be weird, that are more advanced than we think they should have been, disproving evolution, is because humanity mixed with angels. I mean, it's like, if you want to believe that everything came from one little puddle of organic material, then maybe you can believe that supernatural beings without a physical body could intermingle genetically with humanity, which is just, it's ridiculous. And the reason we had advanced technology in the past is because people before the flood lived a long time and they could perfect their art and their skill. And then after the flood, 8 people had these skills and they had children and taught these children the skills. And over time, those skills were lost. Yeah, they were lost. So technology became less advanced. There's a verse in the Bible that says, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that is here has been here before. And people say, look, there's something new. But it's like, no, it's been here before. So pre-flood, there was most likely as much advanced technology as there ever could possibly have been, because humanity did every possible imaginable thing they could to corrupt themselves and, stray from God's creation. And it was so bad that God's like, oh no, it's got to end. So the earth had more water. We know that there was more land mass. So the water was somewhere. They like to say there was an ice age, except we have no evidence of an ice age except for the fact that there was more land before some point in history. So I don't know why people just don't admit, okay, there was a flood. They're like, every culture has a flood legend. So even like the Chinese letter for flood, you break it down, it's like 8 people. It breaks down to like a family of 8 people. It's like, which like there's 8 people left on the ark. So anyway, people want to say the timeline is millions of years, and people want to say the timeline from Adam, from the first life on the planet, is roughly 6,000 years. Okay, we'll just go with the 6,000 years for the sake of argument, right? And as we adjust this little aquarium and this ecosystem of little creatures, so they can live and survive, we can do little things that make it better for them, like adding CO2, amazingly enough. The CO2 is good for the environment. So the plants grow more healthy, so the animals have more to eat. Or we can make the water too hard and they could die or have shorter lives or whatever. Quoting Neil deGrasse again, deGrasse Tyson, he says that the earth will reach a point where there's too many people on it and it won't be able to sustain humanity. So at some point, something's going to have to happen that we either leave the planet or do something with the excess population. The timeline in the Bible says in the future there's going to be the day of the Lord, and the day of the Lord is when the sun goes, well, from what I understand it, I haven't heard any scientists really put this together, Christian or otherwise, creationists or atheists, but they do say that the sun will go red giant and it will swallow up the planets closer to the sun, and the earth will also be swallowed up. But I'm like saying, if the Bible is correct, and so far no archaeological evidence has proved it false. Theories attempt to, but theory is just something people believe. You know, there's no one there for creation except God, and he came in the flesh, and the only way a supernatural being has been able to come in the flesh is when there's a creation event, and only God can create. So this idea that angels can make a living being inside a human is just ridiculous. I think the beast is more likely going to be some type of AI and not some type of succubus or incubus. Okay, so in the future, could be sooner than later, more likely is sooner than later, the sun is going to go red giant and it's going to have a shock wave. Like the sun is going to use up its fuel and then compress and then explode. So what do we have with explosions? We have heat, pressure, shock wave. Sometimes radiation if it's depending on the type of explosion. So something is mentioned like this in the Bible, and it's like there was a great noise and the elements melted with a fervent heat, and I think it says the stars. Does it say stars? I have to look it up again, but the solar system is clearly rocked by this event. And I believe that the Earth could survive the sun going red giant from the shock wave created from the explosion, from the transition, from what we call, what is it now? We call it yellow sun, but it's not, technically it's not yellow because it's white. I only see it yellow through our atmosphere. How it is now until it'll use up its fuel, and there's no fuel gauge on the sun, so we can't look, we have no clue how soon that will happen or how long it will take. They always say billions and billions of years, and that just kind of makes it like it's not going to be our problem, but we don't know that it's not going to be our problem. I would suspect that it is going to be our problem. But apparently, solar system is like drastically affected by the sun, by this great noise, fervent heat, and the habitable zone, if this is in fact the sun going red giant. Sometimes I call it supernova, but it's not supernova, it's red giant. Later it will go supernova, it'll go big, and then really small, and then nova. And in this transition, the Earth changes. Apparently the Earth survives, but the Earth changes, and there's a new Earth and a New Jerusalem. Apparently the New Jerusalem is an object that will orbit the Earth. Will that be our new space station that we decide to live on after the sun goes red giant? I don't know. It doesn't say. Will it be some other celestial body that comes and orbits the Earth? Will we have to actually move from Earth to another planet in the solar system, like one of the moons or something? And that will be the new Earth. These are some good questions. I don't know. I tend to suspect that the Earth is pushed out of its current position and it stays into the habitable zone, as the habitable zone would be pushed out. But I don't know, but it's questions that we should be asking, and we should be preparing to, like, the earth is pretty awesome like it is, and we can't survive without it. And we do want to, like, colonize other planets, and we maybe should sooner than later. And maybe that's how we fulfill some of the prophecies and revelations. There's one thing that I kind of find interesting is there are things in the Bible like the pillar of fire and smoke that guided the Israelites. That could have been the magnetosphere being manipulated in such a way that the solar radiation could come down like a polar like the polar lights. Could also be how the sacrifice, the sacrifice that Elijah made with the fire of God coming from the sky could also have been the magnetosphere being manipulated by the one who created it, God, so that the fire came down from the sun, maybe, and vaporized everything in his sacrifice and the water. But in the video's too long. So in like the polar lights, there's like superstition related to it. People think that it has creatures in it, like fire foxes or cherubim. Or maybe there is some, if that's not just an illusion, like what you think you see, and if it's actually, maybe there are creatures in it, and that's how you can see actual supernatural beings. So maybe there is something to the solar flares. Not solar flares, polar lights, being used to manifest supernatural beings. Maybe the supernatural beings use that as a conduit to come to our physical plane. I don't think so. I think it's just an illusion. But there's like one type of angel that looks like a sphere with rings going around it, right, with light inside. And there's like a celestial object people have seen that they think is just like a Dyson sphere. And one person said, like, well, maybe that's this type of angel that we've seen. And I'm like, maybe. That's an interesting observation. And apparently an object appeared on our plane of existence in such a form. So maybe out there's angels hanging out and doing stuff somewhere out in space, and we've seen them with our telescopes. Maybe they have a portal to the supernatural realm somewhere out in space, Like, clearly when Christ was resurrected, he transcended to the next plane. Not resurrected, but when he ascended. So he resurrected, went around, chilled, met some people and disciples, and then he went in front of 500 people and ascended into heaven. So somewhere between the earth and the skies, Christ went through to where God the Father is, where God and the angels exist, outside of natural space. So anyway, it's just something to think about. This little ecosystem that we live in is not going to last forever, and we should prepare for that. I don't believe it was designed to last forever. Originally, it was the plan, and God could make it last forever if he wanted to. I did some research, and apparently there are no new stars in the universe. They've taken the James Webb Telescope, and they think they may see some proto galaxies. But even if that is proto galaxies forming, then eventually all of these stars will die. We have never seen the formation of a new galaxy for solar system or star. We've only seen them burn out. We've never seen them be born. So it seems like there was one creation event, or one from nothing came something event. And now everything's just going to burn out. It's going to spin around, and like the principle of, I keep forgetting the name of it, but like the decay the decay rate of everything, like the Earth was spinning faster than it is now. It's like when you spin a top, it'll spin and then it'll slow down and fall down. And that's what is happening with the Earth. It is spinning. It is currently spinning, but it's not spinning as fast as it was. And it's also, the moon is also flying away from us. So clearly, at some point, somebody put it together where it spun faster than it does now. And the moon could only get so close before it destroys life, you know? So, and from what we calculate, it could not have been millions and millions of years. It could only have been, what, several thousand or so years that the moon has been spinning around us. And they also, like, there's the whole carbon dating thing. Like, if the Earth had more, or when the Earth had more water around it, the solar radiation wasn't breaking down the carbon atoms as much or as fast. So that attempt at a constant to estimate the age of things before the flood doesn't work. So these are just flaws that no one will tell you who is an atheist and an evolutionist, because it just destroys their theory. It just proves it completely wrong. And if you prove the theory of evolution wrong, then people lose their jobs and their funding for scientific research and stuff like that. So, you know, it's unfortunate. But anyway, so 20-minute video. I really need to do something to compress these videos.